Everyone around me, they feel connected to something. Connected to something I'm not. Ghost in the Shell stars Scarlett Johansson, Michael Pitt, and is directed by Rupert Sanders. So what's up, guys? I actually saw this movie opening night, Thursday night, and Ghost in the Shell is one of those types of films where you want to kind of let it percolate a bit before you sit down and review it. And it's a good thing because the more time went on, the more this movie kind of really sat with me and I couldn't get it out of my head. And I've grown to really appreciate it in a short amount of time. So anyway, let's talk about Ghost in the Shell. And before I get started, we're gonna talk about some spoiler stuff after the rating. Now, a lot of people have seen this movie that are anime fans, so this is gonna be nothing new for you. But people like me that have never seen the original might get a kick out of it. So anyway, on to the review. So in Ghost in the Shell, Scarlett Johansson, she plays Major. And she is really the first of her kind. She is fully a cybernetic organism, but she has a human brain. So it's kind of the opposite of artificial intelligence because the intelligence is actually real. She has human emotions, she has human thoughts. So she can approach a situation like a human. But she's part of a counterterrorism unit and her main sidekick is Bateau, and they intercept this big meeting at the Hanka Corporation, and there is a terrorist attack. And one of the robots there, it's this kind of spider-legged robot. And Major, she becomes curious because of the information that she finds in this spider robot, and then she wants to deep dive to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. And this is where you kind of get into spoiler territory that I don't want to talk about, but I will say it explains a lot about her past. And in her search for her past, she runs into Kuza, played by Michael Pitt. And from this point, I really got interested in this movie because Kuza is, I guess you could say, an elusive type of character. There's a lot of mystery around him, and they don't divulge too much right at the get-go. You know, the layers are peeled back throughout the rest of the movie. But Michael Pitt does such a great job playing him, and he's one of those actors that doesn't seem to reach the top as far as the A-list actors go, but you constantly see him in movies. He was also in Boardwalk Empire, the TV show, and he's one of the best parts of the show. So it shocks me that he's not bigger than he is. But he is perfect as Kuza, even visually. And that's the first thing I want to talk about as far as what I loved about this. Visually, it's going to remind you of Blade Runner. And also that opening sequence, when you see the creation of Major, it's just so beautiful to look at. And this is actually taken pretty close to the original movie from '95. I've actually looked at YouTube at some side-by-side shots, and they're really close. Scarlett Johansson does a great job. I've always defended her as an actress. I think she's a very talented actress. And there's quite a few different ways that you could have played this type of character, but she handles her very well. There's a fine line between acting like a robot and acting like a human, which she is kind of a hybrid of the two. And, you know, she knows how to ride that subtlety pretty well. But perhaps the biggest thing I really loved about this, and reminder, I've never seen the original, is the actual story, how it all unfolds. I wasn't as invested probably in the first 30 minutes, but like I said, once Kuza comes into the picture, then I really got interested. I wanted to know more, and it all worked for me, really. And there's these really startling revelations near the end of the movie that you completely buy into, you completely get invested in. And just on a side note, there's a lot of controversy over Scarlett Johansson being a Caucasian in this role, but the way this movie unfolds, without getting into too much spoiler territory, in the end, it didn't matter and it all made sense. Now, as far as any cons, I think my biggest issue, and it's not even something that bothered me that much, is the action scenes. Yeah, they are cool to look at, but you could tell when you look at movies like The Matrix and its style and substance, there was actual martial arts in that movie. You could tell that Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne knew exactly what they were doing. They looked like experienced fighters. In this movie, it looked like they were kind of filling in the gaps. And there was a lot of CGI used in those fighting scenes to fill those gaps. But like I said, that didn't really bother me because I was so invested in the story. If the story wasn't there, then that would have been a major problem for me. Also, the main villain in the movie was not a big fan of. He was kind of useless. And also, one of my favorite actors to play villains is Michael Wincott, who is at the beginning of this movie in that big meeting. It's a shame that they didn't use him as the major villain because he was fantastic in The Crow. pretty much everything that he's been in, he really steals the show. He doesn't really get a chance to shine in this movie. But overall, guys, originally I was going to give this a high humdrum, but after letting it soak for a bit, I'm definitely going to give this a purchase worthy, and I can't wait to get the 4K when it comes out, and it's going to look beautiful on my TV. This is definitely demo worthy material for your home theater system. So now let's get into some spoiler talk. The biggest thing I want to talk about is Major's real background. She was a part of this group of radicals, and the evil corporation Hanka, they used them as test subjects really, because they wanted to make the perfect operative. And so all these lives were expendable, and Major, she finds out along the way about this, and it really affects her. She becomes really pissed off. And the reason I was mentioning all the controversy with ScarJo being, you know, Caucasian, is that was the actual body that the corporation gave her, but originally she was a Japanese woman. And her real name was Manako Kitsunagi. And also Kuza was one of the others that survived the longest, but he is really a broken unit. And so he has all this angst and bitterness towards the whole situation, as anyone should. And I thought Michael Pitt played him perfectly. He did such a great job in this movie, actually. And I hope that they actually make a sequel to this movie, because I want to watch it. And more importantly, I actually want to go back and watch the original now. And I've never been a big anime fan. But the story itself is really good. And I've read that they took some liberties with this story, maybe combined some elements with not only the original Ghost in the Shell, but the sequels to that and the TV show. So yeah, I'm looking forward to diving into those. No pun intended. So anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on Ghost in the Shell? Looking forward to hearing them. Also, come on over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day, every day, and on Fridays, we talk Free for All Fridays, like Ghost in the Shell. Also, if you look down below, you can see all my social media links. If you like what I do, please click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.